Okay. Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you're all having a wonderful week. It's great to see your faces. Okay. So, the past 6 weeks, really, we have had some very high level calls, like lots of awesome information. Victoria's 4 weeks that she did for us, which were amazing. Then we talked about failing forward, and that was like super dense, right? Like tons of information. And then last week with the compensation plan enhancements and holiday launch, it has just been like go, go, go with like amazing stuff. So that has all been great, but it has also been a lot to like process. And so tonight is going to be a really simple concept for us, and hopefully we can have some good discussion around it. But I'm hoping that it'll be really impactful because if we have all of this like great training and great information and compensation plan like working for us, but we're not able to put it into action, then nothing really changes, right? Like we just kind of soak it up and we're like, that's awesome. Same thing with Power Hour for you guys that hop on with Alita. That's back on Monday through Thursday mornings. If you are on there and you're loving it, make sure you take action right away. And I saw so many of you like doing just high energy posts and stuff today. I was so excited. I'm like, yes, when you feel inspired or when you feel like, oh, I learned something new, that is exactly the moment where you either want to write it down or take action, because the energy that you show up with is huge, right? So it's super important to be soaking up all the things, but then also be putting it into action. And so we're going to kind of break down just some conversation about goals and setting goals and then how to actually make them happen. I feel like this has been like a missing piece for many of us, especially if you feel like you've been on kind of a hamster wheel of adding people and losing people, right? It's like we're working and we're adding people, but at the same time, we're losing people. And so we can kind of just stay kind of stagnant. And maybe that's not you. Some people on our team are flying and they're jamming and they're doing all the things, especially if you're newer. But some of us have been around a long time and we go through seasons of just feeling a little stuck or a little stagnant, and that is okay. And many of you are in accountability chats that we have going on. So I know that you have big goals that you want to achieve by convention next year. Like that's the time frame for many people. Like by convention, by the time we're in Vegas, I really want to be gold or ruby or emerald or whatever your goal is. But if you're in one of those groups, this is a good time to take a pause and look back and say, okay, since we've started those accountability chats, have I made significant progress towards my goal? Right? Because now months have gone by, right? And you guys know how fast we turn those calendar pages. Like it literally just is so fast. So months have passed. And so now's a good time to evaluate, like, and I'm talking to myself too, have I made progress towards my goal? Some have, like truly, some really have, and some haven't. And that is okay, because where you are right now is no indicator of where you can be in 6 months. Like it is so true. Everything can change so quickly. Some of you have experienced this. Like I went from here to here in 6 months and I don't even know what happened, but I experienced massive growth. Some of you are like, yes, yep, that was me. And it's awesome to hit seasons like that. And it's true. Where you are today is really no indicator whatsoever of where you can be by convention. You can truly make anything happen. But the key to it is deciding, right? Everything shifts when we decide what we are going to do and what we're going to work towards. So step number one, when we look at our goal, whether your goal is, I'm going to go silver, I'm going to go gold, I want to be ruby by the end of the year, I'm going for emerald, whatever your goal is, the first thing is to look at it and ask yourself, have I truly decided that I'm doing it? Like, am I all in? Like, come what may, I am going to make this thing happen. If you haven't, that's where you need to start, right? Because something really switches in our brain when we decide. So you may notice that this quarter, we're really focused on silver development, right? We announced that fun silver stars that we're doing as a team. So I have had so many conversations with individuals on our team and just saw that like this is really where we need to put some effort. And I've encouraged many of you on coaching calls to really focus on silver development, right? I feel like we know how to recruit. If you've been here for any amount of time, you probably know how to recruit and we're good at that. But duplication is the struggle, right? Duplication is the struggle. And it's really where the magic happens. And it's where the big shift in growth happens. So we're focusing on silvers. Have to shout out Victoria. She is running a silver and 6 group this week and has been just asking people like, hey, do you want to get your products paid for? And talking to people that, maybe weren't interested in the past or we didn't know were interested, and they're excited about it. So shout out to her for doing that. And that's something we can all be doing. There's literally a board that you can, start a chat or start a group and put the, 6 days of tasks in there. We can help you with that. But whatever it is, however you're focused on it, we as a team are focused on developing silvers because that is what we all need to get to the next level. And myself included, I looked at my silver development rate and it was not awesome. So I'm like, I need to do a better job at this. And it's such an opportunity for people on our team. Like, who doesn't want to get their products paid for and earn $300 just by sharing with 3 people, right? It's amazing. And yes, Amy, awesome. Doing your silver and 6 next week with a sip and see at the end. I love that. That is so, so great. Okay. So kind of diving into what I want to break down for you tonight. This really started with a coaching call that I did with Nick Clark. And he is my RSM, regional sales manager. And when you hit Emerald, you are assigned kind of like a business partner at Plexus, and they help you out, and you can do a monthly call and they break down your numbers for you. And it's super helpful. He is also Alec Clark's son. So if you guys know Alec Clark, one of the founders, he is the nicest guy ever, right? You see him on stage and in all the videos, he's amazing. This is his son. So it's so cool. It's like family business. And actually when I was chatting with him, Alec came up behind him and he whispered something to him. He's like, sorry, my dad was just telling me that he's going to drive me to the airport later. And I was like, you guys are so cute. Just like real people. His dad's taking him to the airport. I think they were going to Gold School. So anyway, super funny, but Nick is great. And I chatted with him about our big team goal of hitting Sapphire in November. And I was like, okay, can you break that down? What's it going to look like? And he pointed out to me that we're going to need 30% growth in our team, just 30%, no big deal, right? And that we would need to enroll about 195 people in October and 250 in November. Amy, I saw you say that's nothing. We've got this, no big deal. So he broke that down for me. And at first I died a little bit inside. Okay. I kind of melted into a puddle and then I picked myself up and I put on my big girl pants because I know that we can do this. I just know we can. And I told you guys a couple of weeks ago when I said hey, I think it's time to just set a big goal. What I'm focused on and excited for is the lessons that will be learned in the process, right? Because right away I saw okay, we need to build silvers. If we're going to have this massive growth, and if you're going to have that massive growth for your team, it can't be one at a time, right? It can't be Fern, go recruit 20 people on your team, right? That's crazy. No, it's about duplication. It's about helping people go silver. And actually shout out to you, Fern, because I know you're having those conversations. So I'm super proud of you for doing that. And okay, anyway, it is a big goal and the data can actually inform us of what we need to do, right? And what he broke down for me is he said, you have a goal, which is great, but what are your strategies and what are your tactics? I was like, okay, good question, right? So a lot of us have goals. We've been saying, I want to be gold, or I want to be ruby, or I've been working towards senior gold for a year, right? Does that resonate? Does that sound like you? But we think sometimes that if we just let the time pass, that somehow that goal will magically happen, right? Well, time is passing. So my points should just kind of be accumulating and growing and it's not happening. So I feel frustrated, right? That's the hamster wheel that I know I have been on many, many times, and maybe you can relate. So when is the last time that you set a goal and actually strategized for it and committed 100% to it? Okay. So I want to break this down for you because it really, really helped me think through the goal versus the activities and the things that will actually bring the goal to life or make it happen. So let's take an example here, and I'm going to maybe ask you guys to share also in a minute, but let's work through one. If the goal is, I want to hit gold, maybe someone's in that boat who's listening tonight. I want to hit gold. A lot of times we stop there and we think, well, I set a goal, so I'm good, right? I have my goal. I want to be gold. So I'll just keep plugging along and it will happen. But usually it won't. And this is the hamster wheel. Okay. We have to actually take the next step and develop strategies. So we have the goal. I want to be gold. But what is the strategy? So a strategy is how you're going to hit gold. All right. So you start thinking, like, get your wheels turning. How am I going to do this? Maybe your strategy is that you're going to add 10 new VIPs yourself. Like, you're going to focus on recruitment. Maybe your strategy is you're going to develop 3 silvers. Awesome. Like, now you have a strategy, and there's no right or wrong, right? Like, when you're looking at your goal, some of you are brand new and you're like, all right, I want to go silver. I need 3 people. My strategy is find 3 people. Okay, awesome. But then the next layer, so we have our goal, we have our strategy. The next layer is your tactics. Tactics are the things you can actually control. They are the only things you can actually control. So let's take that strategy of, I want to be gold and I'm going to add 10 new VIPs. Let's say that's your strategy. What could your tactic be? It could be a lot of things. It could be upping your reach outs to 10 per day, right? If I'm going to recruit 10 people this month, I'm going to talk to 10 people a day about Plexus. Or it could be, my tactic is I'm going to host 2 sip and shares in my home or in my neighborhood or at Starbucks or whatever. Like, I'm going to bring people together and have these sip and shares. Or it could be, I am bringing samples to work and I'm committing to 2 in-person conversations per day. Those are all tactics. And do you see how those are things you can actually control? Like, you can say, these are the things I'm going to do, and then actually go do them. Those are tactics. And without clarity on those tactics, you're really not going to accomplish the goal, right? Instead of just kind of a wish and a prayer, and I hope it happens, and maybe by convention I'll be diamond, that's great. And that's where you start. But without the strategy and the tactic, you kind of won't know what to do. When you start thinking about tactics, you'll get clarity around the work that needs to be done. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes the goal that you want is going to take more work than you thought it would. Sometimes it's going to take longer than you thought it would. It's going to involve more failure than you thought it would. Like, it is sometimes harder than we think. But I also can promise you that it's way more rewarding than you thought it would be. Like, when you actually achieve that goal you set out, it will be totally worth it. And with reward, I don't just mean paycheck. I mean the growth that you experience by digging deep into the work, because it's that hard stuff. It's the sip and sees, it's the reach outs, it's having those conversations at work. That is what's going to do that change in you and making you more confident and really bringing about things in your life that you would not have foreseen, right? It will be worth it. Some of us are in love with the goal, but we're not in love with the process, right? Not in love with the process and not really in love with the work. And I will tell you, when you really learn to enjoy the work, then you have so much to celebrate along the way, right? Because if it's all about the goal, that's only going to happen every now and then, right? There's only 9 ranks in Plexus. So if it's all about, I have to be silver, and then I have to be gold, and then I have to be that, you're only going to be able to celebrate 9 times up to diamond. So 9 months out of your entire Plexus life will be a rank up month. Every other month will not be a rank up month, but that's okay. There's still literally so much to celebrate. Okay, so we have to be willing to be uncomfortable and try new things. That's when you're thinking about tactics, those things are going to scare you, right? Because they're the things that move the needle. Giving out samples, hosting sip and shares, building silvers, having in-person conversations. Your brain's going to be like, I can't do it. So I get it. It's uncomfortable. But if we keep doing the same things we've always done, we'll keep getting the same results we've always gotten, right? So if you're perfectly happy where you're at with Plexus, keep doing what you're doing, right? And you'll stay where you're at. And maybe that's where you want to be. And that's awesome. But if you want to get to that next level and you want to get off the hamster wheel and you feel like you've been spinning and you're like, get me off this roller coaster, then you're going to have to do something different. And that's where breaking your goals down into strategies and tactics can really open your eyes to like, okay, these are the things that I need to do. So I would love to hear from somebody. If you have a goal right now, and if I asked you, what's your goal? You're like, boom, I know it. I would love to hear what your goal is and then how we can break it down into some strategies and some tactics. So is there anyone who's like brave enough or has already thought through this and knows the things that would want to share? Okay, I see Emily and Amanda like raising their hands. Sure, you guys.
We're going diamond, baby.
Okay, I love it.
We're doing it. We're going to work our butts off. We are excited. We are so happy. We've been working all day today. I bet you Emily and I messaged 100 people today. And I am not kidding. We got a list and we were And it was so exciting. It was so exciting. And so I don't know. What do you have to say?
I signed my first person up, which I saw Victoria just mentioned.
That's
So I was
amazing.
happy about that. And then like Amanda said, we probably messaged about 100. So hopefully we'll see some good results from that. We use the tactic of trying like not different things with different people, but we adjusted on the person and we try to create a special effect for each person. So that way we weren't just saying the same generic message for everybody. We tried to give everybody something personal to respond to.
Yes, that is so important.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. And we kept notes too, like with each person that we talked to, we found out what their health goals were, what products they were interested in, and we wrote specific notes out for that person. So then when we were reaching out to them, we could kind of make that personal connection with them. And I think that really helped. And I think also we made it a point to kind of try, I guess that's the personal relationship type thing, but we made it a point to kind of get to know something about them and about their family. So we kind of added that in the text as well. So I don't know, we're getting, after all these messages, I would say we're getting a lot more confident and reaching out to people for sure.
And I would say like too, since the primary goal is to help people, we tried to keep our tactics oriented toward helping the person still. So like being a friend that they might not have or something like that, just so that way we didn't feel like we were being so salesy. Like our tactics still involved helping that person at the end of the day. Yeah. And I think it makes you feel better about it too, because even if you don't get the sale, you still impacted that person in some way. Right. So that was kind of something we had talked about.
And then the other thing the other thing I think that we're learning too is patience, because not everyone is like on point and ready. So if you go into that message, and this is taking a moment for us to realize, like you can go into that message with really a heart to want to reach out and connect with someone and help them. And then just have that in your mind that yes, you might have to be patient, but it's okay. Everything doesn't have to happen right at that moment. And I don't know, I've taken a lot of comfort in that, because when you get so excited, like you want, to get that end result, but it definitely works. You have to work on your patience, having patience. So I don't know, learning a lot.
Yep.
That's awesome, ladies. And I can tell that you are enjoying the process. Like you're fired up at the messages you sent, right? Like, and yes, of course you have that huge win of signing up your first person, which is always amazing, but you're loving the process. And so I would say if you can keep loving the process all the way to diamond, that will keep you so energized and excited. Amy asked, what is your timeline for your goal? Do you guys have a timeline for that big goal?
We kind of talked about, like, we had asked Victoria a while ago when the best time to follow up with somebody was, just because we didn't really know. And Victoria had kind of mentioned, like, she usually follows up pretty quickly, like 24 hours, depending on the time of day. So yesterday when we did our event, we didn't really wrap up until later in the day. So we did a little earlier than 24 hours, but we still waited till the very next day. We messaged everybody. We made sure that we had everything together. So we kind of sacrificed messaging them super early. We messaged them a little bit later in the day, so we had everything kind of gathered. And then we are trying to still set up a timeline on when to call those people, because a lot of people requested a call and a text, or, they wanted us to text the link and then follow up with a call. So we're kind of just waiting on the people to see how that goes. And then we have a few calls that we're going to be doing through the rest of the week.
Then
awesome.
So, was the question, what was our timeline on when we wanted to be diamond, or like for our ultimate goal?
Yeah. So if that's your ultimate goal, do you guys have a time frame set on that where you're like, I would love to see this happen by, such and such a date?
Oh, I'm sorry. I definitely answered that wrong. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That was all good, what you said.
It's hard to say when you could meet such, an amazing goal like that. But I think our plan is just to do the things every day and stay consistent, stay faithful, even if right away we're not seeing all the results we wish that we would.
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, it's definitely, you have to let patience work itself out in you.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think staying consistent and just keep, building every day and let the Lord do his work, I guess. So I don't know. It's hard to put a time on it. I want it tomorrow. I'm like, let's get a
Yeah.
million.
Yes.
But I think you got to just have patience,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
have
And I think with
patience, I guess, and keep doing the things.
yes.
It's not
And
easy.
it's not easy. No, for sure. And with a really big goal like that, it's helpful to kind of reverse engineer it, right? And say, like, okay, that is what I have my focus on and my eyes set on. But obviously, we have to go step by step, right? Everybody does. So you can set your goal for, okay, next step is silver, next step is senior silver. And then figure out your strategies and your tactics for those things. So you've got the messaging, you've got the sip and sees you guys are doing, the conversations, like those are all tactics that you're doing. You can set those stepping stone goals along the way so that you're working towards diamond, and then the time frame will become clearer as you get closer, right? And sometimes we have to adjust the time frame, right? And I mean, if you're going for diamond, who cares if it takes 1 year or 5 years or 7 years? Like that is a life-changing goal. So it's going to take time. But that is awesome. Proud of you ladies. And Shannon had a good point in the chat. She said, let me just scroll back up. Remember this feeling on the hard days and seasons, like this energy and excitement you're feeling right now. You want to be able to come back to it and tap into that when things feel hard, and knowing, your why and your desire to serve people, that's going to keep you grounded through the seasons, because truly it is a season. If you're, looking to build a big team, there are going to be highs, there are going to be lows, there's going to be a lot in between. So being able to come back and be like, this is why I'm doing this. These are the people, whose lives are changing, is so, so important.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Well, I just think like with the whole thing about letting, that fruit of the spirit, patient, comes in you, it's like it's such a learning curve. I don't know. I felt bad because I interrupted you, so I lost my train of thought.
Oh,
So I
no.
guess never mind.
Oh,
Just
no,
the
that's
patience.
fine.
But I hope that her and I together at least can meet the fast track goals. One step at a time with those. I think that's like our short term goal, is just to try to pop that. But already
Yes.
it hasn't been easy. Already I feel like I've had struggles and kind of have really put a lot of time and energy into this without, getting the results I would hope for. So patience.
Yes.
So sorry.
Yeah. The fast track goals, that's really, really, like, that's a great timeline to just like try to stay on track with fast track. And it's so true. In the beginning, when you guys are building, and all of you guys who are building, it feels so hard in the beginning because you have to jump into the activity, but you haven't gotten all the growth yet, right? Because the personal growth comes with time, and it comes with failure, and it comes with doing something wrong and then pivoting for next time. So that is all like learning in the trenches. So when you're first building your business, you feel like, man, I'm working so hard with not a lot of return on investment, right? Like my paycheck isn't huge and I feel like I'm doing all these things. But truly, when you continue and you push through that and you get all the personal growth and you make all the mistakes, then you start to see your paycheck catch up with all of this work that you've been doing. And it has laid the groundwork for then those bigger paychecks and higher recruitment months. So I love that, ladies. Keep bringing that energy. Is there one more person who wants to share a goal? Fern, I saw you. I'm going to scroll back up. You said re-rank gold and rank up to senior gold by the end of the year. Alicia, Ruby by December. Does anyone want to unmute and just kind of work through, like, okay, what's the strategy? What's the tactic?
I'll share. Unless Alicia, do you want to share? I saw your unmute. Okay.
Okay, Amy.
I am going for gold this month.
Okay.
I'm halfway there right now. Well, I will be, once all my people order,
Yep.
that I know are going to order. And I was never taught before. I've been with Plexus for 8 years. I don't know who's new on here, but I was never taught before now how to build silvers. And so that's obviously my focus this month, is doing a silver in 6 group where I'm inviting anybody and everybody on my team that wants to do anything with the business, even if they just want to get their products paid for, and they can do those steps every day. They'll have steps to do toward getting silver. And then through that week, is next week, we'll be inviting to a sip and see at my house. If people aren't able to come to my house, then I'll do a quick event, like a messenger event for anybody that is not local. And hopefully that'll get at least 3 people silver. And I am planning to add 3 people myself messaging. And yeah, that's it.
Great. All right. You've got some clear action items. Remember, the tactics are the things you can control. So you can run a silver and 6 or silver and 7 group. You can host a sip and, right? So if it's things that you're like, I can make them happen, you're talking tactics. If it's like, well, I don't know if that's going to happen, I kind of hope, then it's either goal or strategy. So I love that these are like action items. You've got the clear goal, you've got the strategy, which is building silvers, and you've got the tactics, which are the things to make it happen. So super clear. That's awesome, Amy.
Well, I mean, you helped me with it, so there's that.
But that's part of it too.
I had your awesomeness, you and Shannon.
That's part of it too. Amy hopped on a coaching call with Shannon and I and talked about her goals for the month. And then we helped her come up with strategy and with tactics, with action items, right? So that's something you guys can do too, is just like connect with your upline and say like, hey, here's my goal. Help me break it down. I don't know what to do. And we can help you with that. Alicia, do you want to share some thoughts on Ruby by the end of the year? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
I can. So I'm a big numbers person, so I can waste a lot of time doing numbers. And so I kind of have to go the other direction to like figure out the numbers once and then not be like spending every day like 20 minutes trying to, where am I at? Where am I at? What am I doing? Because I can very quickly get stuck wasting time doing that. So a lot of my focus is our team has kind of grown a lot in the last 6, I guess it's been almost 10 months now. It feels like it's only been 6. I feel like we just like haven't caught up. And so there's things when you are moving a little bit more quickly that you kind of have to go back and work on. So we're working on a lot of that. Like, okay, now we have people, how are we retaining them? We didn't necessarily like have to worry about it at the beginning because we were just doing things. So we, as a team, we're working in our little like chat to add value in different ways and just helping to build the belief in the products, in health, and just like adding value in different ways, because that's how we're going to like get people to be loving their products that they actually want to share. And so we're kind of trying to lay that groundwork a lot throughout the different things that we share, to then be able to ask people like, hey, if you love your products, would you share them? And then asking them to host different events, do sip and shares. So I feel like sometimes we kind of jump to the end, or I know our team has kind of jumped to the end and we're like, okay, now we got to go back and like make sure that we're adding the value and not just like prior to someone signing up. So we're working through that. And then really focusing on silvers and recruiting, because sometimes we found ourselves going through like little pieces of like, oh, we're really good at retaining and then we're really good at enrolling, but like doing all the things every month, and just finding ways to build on that. So I haven't quite broken down the tactics of like all of the things, but it's been focusing on inviting to different events that we have, like really spending a lot of time being like, we're going to invite to DPAF, starting our own groups. If there's something like we need something in, November, December, like we did things, I think in September, and just kind of working through different things. If we don't have something that we think we need, just going ahead and being like, we're going to run it in our small team and doing that. So,
I love that.
Things.
Right. I love that. Thanks, Alicia. Yeah. If you see a gap and you're like, man, my team really needs this, but the big team's not doing it, go do it. Do it for your team. You are the boss. Like, you know what your team needs. If you need a messenger blitz, if you need a silver and 7, if you know, whatever your team needs, you have your finger on the pulse of your team, like more so than anyone else. And you go do the things. And what's awesome is when you do that, you learn so much because you're in charge, right? So you have to take ownership and do the thing. So I love that. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing. And I think this is really helpful, right? So I already put my big goal for November out to you guys. I set it 2 months in advance, even though it's crazy. And the number one reason I chose to say it and go for it is because I just felt like I wanted to give you guys a reason and permission to actually go for something and put a timeline on it. I think, especially for those of you who have been with me for almost 6 years now, it's easy to just be like, a little stuck and a little bit in management mode, but you can set a huge goal that on paper doesn't even make sense. But when you set it and you decide, right, back to that word decide, and you're like, I'm doing it, all of a sudden you will have creative downloads. You will think through the strategies, the tactics, and it will finally get you off the hamster wheel. Even if you don't hit the goal, the progress and the lessons you will learn along the way are totally, totally worth it. Okay. Yeah. Shan, quick thought, and then I will wrap it up.
Yeah, sorry, I'll try to make it quick. Okay, so I just wanted to say, so my goal is Emerald by convention, and like working that backwards would be senior Ruby by the beginning of next year, re-ranking Ruby by the end of this year. And I love just the piggyback off of what Amy was sharing and how she was just said, like, you know, she just joined a couple months ago, but she's been with Plexus for 8 years. She never was taught how to build silvers, all that. When I first started, I didn't really I shied away from asking people to go silver or sharing about the business. And my goal right now is obviously, like Brittany has been talking about, like in order to grow to Emerald and Diamond, like you have to duplicate. You cannot build a team all by yourself. So knowing that that's my goal in my head, I'm like, okay, I need to be asking people every day. So I've been doing that. People just taprooting in my downline, just literally saying, hey, would you like to make $300+ this month and, you know, get yourself a cute little Plexus cup, and just not being afraid of it. And like before, I used to just ask for the shout out post, and if they didn't answer me or they told me no, I was like, okay, I'm not asking them ever again if they want to go silver. And they don't even know what the heck a shout out post is. Like they don't know what they're saying no to. So just like even with that, like not just stopping at that one question, like, you know, getting on the phone with them and telling them about the referral link, and like, you know, referring to something that they might know, like relate it to like the Instacart referral links or the Grove or any of those referral links that all these other companies have. I will gladly share my Grove link with you so that I can get $20 off my next Grove order. So like, why wouldn't people want to do that with Plexus, right? So I've been just like telling myself that and just introducing it and allowing people the opportunity of this business. Even if they don't want the business, they could still refer people. And then that person that they refer might be your next Emerald. You never know. So just, I guess I'm trying to say, don't shy away from sharing the business, telling people about their, like literally make sure everybody knows about the referral link. I didn't do that when I first started. So I'm way better at that now. And I feel like now I have somebody like Amy who is ready for the business. And so I've learned and taken all of that, you know what I mean? Like I've been here all this time, and now she's getting that right from the get-go of like rejoining with me, which is pretty cool to see that like my growth with that has helped her. So, okay. That's all I gotta say.
So good, Chan. So good. I love it. Yes, Emily, I'll answer your question real quick. When do you get to the stage of being higher up? Okay. So how many people are on your team? Yeah. So Ruby is 100 people under you, but again, they don't have to be level 1s, right? Like we get paid 7 levels down. So the way you build your team, it's going to look different depending on the person, right? So if you take a diamond, they might have 30 level 1s, but they are a boss at duplicating and they've built deep teams. You might have a diamond who's a boss at recruiting and they have 300 level 1s and less duplication down. So there's so many different ways to do it. And it really, you want to play to your strength. So if you are an awesome recruiter, awesome, embrace that. But just know that you don't have to personally add every single person to your team. it's not easy, but the easier way is to bring people on and help them duplicate right away, because you're going to be growing your team by 3s and 5s and 10s and 20s instead of one at a time. Like when it's all recruitment, it's one. And we all have to start that way, right? Like that is the first pillar of your business is recruitment, because you can't duplicate till you have people, and not every single person is going to want to do the business with you or go silver, but it's recruitment and then right away getting into duplication mode. Yep. Okay, I see the goals popping in. Coralie said Ruby by convention. Scary goals, Emerald by convention. You can absolutely have secret scary goals, Coralie, and we will keep your secret for you and just quietly cheer you on or loudly cheer you on. Okay, we are like 10 minutes over, so I got to wrap it up. We can totally have a part 2 of this conversation. What was that?
Oh, you know everyone on this chat, and I was really hoping that you guys could tell me, like, you know, where you guys each are and like how many people you have under you, just like real quick, just so I knew, because I follow you. I try to follow all of you on Facebook and learn from you. So I was just curious if you didn't mind just sharing, you know, how many people does Alicia have on her team, or Shannon? I just kind of, just because it would give me a vision for, you know, what everyone's doing and what's working, if you don't mind.
Sure. If you guys are comfortable with that and want to pop it in the chat, you can. Also, some people here are brand new. Some people are brand new, and some people, yeah, I don't know. If you ask me how many people I have on my team right now, I don't even know. I'll just tell you that I'm Emerald. But if you guys want to do that, you can, or you could have some side conversations too. But let me just wrap it up by saying you have permission to set big goals. Okay. You have permission to actually go for something. And if you want to go with me in November, I would love to strategize with you. Let's remember, goals are so important. That's the first step, is deciding. But the next step is strategy. How are you going to get there? And then the final step is tactics. What can I actually control? What are the things that I can do to make this goal actually happen? And that's where the creativity will come out, and you will just be able to really get into clear action, right? Victoria talked about clarity, clear action on what you need to do. So, okay, I know we are way over time. Much love to everyone this week. Encourage your people that are doing the Depuff challenge. It's already off to a great start, and let's have an amazing week. All right. Thank you, ladies.